Hey everybody, it's Kathy and Nothing So Strange, and I was playing a game I wanted to share. I got a couple new decks. I got Woodland Wardens and I got Bloodlands, and I was looking through the cards and I started thinking about, this keyword sounds familiar. This other keyword sounds familiar. This card reminds me of another card. And I thought of a game I could play to learn my new decks and to further understand the decks I've had around. And, just to look at the pretty pictures and have a good time. So my new game is we're going to make a daisy chain, which is, the thing we did with flowers when we were kids, but also I'm given to understand for electrical engineers it has to do with a series of connections where the input from one item hooks to the output from another, or no, output directly hooks to input. That's how it goes. Anyway, you'll see what I mean. So here's how we're playing. I'm starting with the Southern Gothic. And I'm starting with the crow and the dogwood, which here means dashed hopes and mourning for the crow, sacrifice and rebirth for the dogwoods. And how the game works is I have to match at least one of those to a card in another deck. Well, we looked out with Woodland Wardens, and there's a crow and a dogwood here, which means intelligence. Okay. Well, now we're in Woodland Wardens, so we have to pick another one from that. I've picked out the fox and ivy. And now I have to match it to a card in a new deck. So I'm moving to folklore and pulling out the fox. But now folklore has to give me another card to keep going. It's giving me boar. And boar brought me right back to Woodland Wardens with the boar and pumpkin. And so it has to move me on. Possum and peony. And it moves me right back to the Southern Gothic. And so now the Southern Gothic has to move me on. And it has bounced me right back to Woodland Wardens. These three decks, talk to each other a lot, because here's the hare and oak, which bounced me right back into folklore. And look, I had another double, a hare and an oak. And I'm moving on from that with blackthorn, which brought me right back to Woodland Wardens, the bobcat and the blackthorn. And whoops, sorry about that. Move on, we've got the elk and the ash, which moved me back to folklore. Now this is just going to be part one of this, And next, I think I'm going to do a series where I come back through all these pairings because I have noticed, here's the owl, so back to woodland wardens, owl and hop, and to get out of woodland wardens, I'm using the wolf. The wolf is putting me right back into folklore. And up, spider, which is taking me into woodland wardens again. Coming out with the frog, back into folklore. Out of folklore with the squirrel. Back over to woodland wardens with chestnut, salamander and black pepper, and Southern Gothic comes back with the salamander. And to get out of the Southern Gothic, ooh, look, we've got the Crossroads. This was actually the card that set me off. I said I got new decks, plural. And one of my new decks was Bloodlands. I've been wanting this for so long. Seen so many walkthroughs. It's such a beautiful deck. And when I first opened it, I got pretty happy about the Crossroads card. I don't know. Crossroads is just making me really happy lately. But I was saying, I'm going to come back and do maybe a little short series where I go back through these pairings and look at the different meanings in each deck and see what it'll help me understand about each of these symbols. So, here I am in the Bloodlands with Crossroads, and to get out, I've got a stone circle. That's such a beautiful card. And to get out that, I'm back into folklore. Standing stones. And to get out, I've got the cougar. Now, some of y'all are from the American South, and you understand that a cougar is a painter. I'm not cheating. Same thing. Okay. Getting out of this with the dog. That's such a happy dog. That reminds me a little of my brew. And, okay, stretching it a little bit here, but I've got a hound. Hound and a pair. And to get out, got the bear and the cedar, which puts us back in folklore with a bear. But then to get out, I've got a green man, which means I got to pull out a couple more decks. Hang on. Okay. Going for the Archaeo. Nick Bantock. Such a favorite deck. I hope everybody's seen that. But it's giving me another green man. Look how beautiful. And to get out of the Archaeo, I've got the Observer. Love this deck. I need to work with this more. Love the beautiful archetypes. But to find an observer, I had to go into the Oracle of Mystical Moments. And here she is. Here's my observer. And it's going to be so much fun going back through and looking up all the different meanings of these words. Okay. And to get out of mystical moments, I needed a gift. So I'm into the Urban Crow now. And the Urban Crow has some gifts for me. Those look good together. To get out of the Urban Crow, I've got influence. And, okay, here's where the deck got dangerous because I knew where I'd seen a card that said influence before. So I had to open another deck. Roses, Dust, and Ashes. Another one I've been dying for a long time. But there's our influence. I don't think those are going to have the same meaning, so I'm looking forward to that longer comparison later. But now I need to get out of Roses, Dust, and Ashes. So I have curiosity leading me out. And it's leading me right back to the Urban Crow. I love this. I love this guy. Never had a crow walk in my back door, but I did have a possum that used to sneak in sometimes. Okay. And now I need to get out of the Urban Crow, and I'm getting out with abundance. And at this point, I feel like I have an abundance of decks going. But I need to bring one more in to get abundance. Another Nick Bantock, Following the River's Course is the book. The river is the deck. It works really well with the Archaeo. And this does not have the words on it, so you're going to have to take me on faith when I say this card is abundance. Which you can tell with the beautiful fruit. And to get out, the next card from the river, the output is the Lightning Tree, which I think I'm allowed to compare to the Lightning Strike from Bloodlands. Now to get out of Bloodlands, I've got Darkness. And think this is the last one I pull out. My little Cards of Chaos, imaginary tarot cards. And I'm pulling out Darkness. To get out of there, I've got Rebirth. And that brings me back to Roses, Dust, and Ashes, Rebirth. And my output for Roses, Dust, and Ashes is going to be Insight. So now, back into the Urban Crow. And to get out of the Urban Crow, I chose Battle. And Battle took me back to the river and Battle. And that's where I had to stop. It's kind of dangerous though. I was thinking, wow, if I had the Supra deck, the Usi Supra, I could keep going for a while, couldn't I? Sorry, technical difficulties. Anyway, I'm going to come back later and do some little shorts with the comparisons. And I hope you had fun. This was a lot of fun, seeing how long I could make the daisy chain. So I encourage everybody to do it. And tag me if you do it. I want to watch. Good night, y'all. Thanks for watching.